place to pick up a baby. As far as we know, a newborn. It seems to be very cold, so we have to hurry.
Express.
It's too cold. Yes, Barbara, good evening. We are leaving the police station right now. Can you come to my side? It is a newborn baby. They have cut the cord by the police, so they really have to check her. And the doctor is going to check her lungs and everything. Check if there is no fluid inside anymore. She's not breathing so well, so I think she will first check that. We hope she didn't lose too much blood. Bernice. It's a name from the Bible and it means bringing victory. So we hope she will.
That's a quick one. Yeah. It comes with an happy.
Ooh, that's great. Congratulations. Well, its color is not bad, quite a good color, so it's probably this is a healthy baby, but we'll just have to go ahead and try to clean it up. And of course it has been deprived of oxygen. You can see the fingers and the legs. Huh? This is an oximeter. We are trying to measure the oxygen saturation and to see also the heart rate of the baby. Even the fingers are really cold, eh?
Yeah, she was really cold. She's found somewhere on the road. It was found 2 hours ago, so it can be like maybe 3 hours old.
We have been in Uganda for 23 going to 24 years. We as a couple, we believed that that God called us for Uganda. That's very clear. God spoken that so clear that we had no doubts at all. And I'm glad it was like that. Otherwise the difficulties we have faced in this country, in this culture, would have probably pushed us away in not early stage but eventually. Because it's not always easy to stand on the shadow side of the society, and that's what we definitely do. But where we get those children from is simply the worst side of the society. There where you throw your children away, there where we fish them literally on a piece of rope out of a pit latrine. thrown in the dirt on the side of the road after just being born. I mean, that's the worst side you can show of a society. So we are extremely privileged to be together. Our name comes from Peter, fisher of man, and therefore it made it at least easier, because you're on the same level, you experience in the same things. We have worked always hand in hand. So if we get a distress call from police or probation office or so, then we go together. Yeah, we take a social worker with us, and we jump in the ambulance and we go and rescue that little one wherever it might be.
But God has given us a great compassion for those kids who have nobody, those kids who are without parents. You know, there are parents, but nobody knows where. And those kids need love, they need attention, and they need a safe haven to grow up in. And of course we look for family members if we can find them. And then we try to resettle the child by the family. But the ones that we don't know anything about, they're ours. Simple. God has given them to us and we take care of them.
We literally started with, what would it have been, like $400, $500 Canadian a month or so. You know, that's what we started with. And soon after we started, we got a first child, which was supposed to be sacrificed to the ancestors. And we got a distress call from an auntie of that child who was trying to rescue the child and didn't know what to do, and then she got to know about us, and then we said, like, let it come, it's okay. So we faced some hardship with that, but you know, that's part of it. So we started in an ordinary house, and that's where we thought we could handle like 25, maybe 30 kids. Although the aim was not to go as quick and as big as possible, but that's where we started. And it took us how many years before we grew out there?
7 or so.
6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And then we moved out to what it is now in Mukono. I mean, it has become a big village in itself. But we moved out with about 58 kids,
50,
isn't
yeah.
it? And so there was nice grass when we came in the house, but there was no grass left when we went out of that house, because those little feet had cut everything. No flower was safe anymore. In Bible college, where we did our final mission training, we had a lecturer and who made it so clear: God's work done in God's way will never lack His support. That's what we trusted. That's what we believed. We could see, and God has fulfilled His part more than faithful, much more faithful than we are. And how amazing it is, but that's how it came, and that's how we have been living. So we never bothered about money. Of course we couldn't do anything we wanted, but as far as the children is concerned, giving them the right feeding and taking the right care, yep, God provided. It's so interesting. God knows what you can handle. He knows that you can handle this or more. So we have had periods where we felt like it's a bit too much. We got 2 or 3 in a go, and then you bang, as it were, like, Lord, this is becoming too much. We can't settle in. We can't get to know the child first. And then often it took 2, 3, 4 months before we got the next one. So God balanced it for us. We looked at our first children, the oldest ones, as being the pioneers. Those who could not be resettled, they simply became, for us, inside the pioneers. What do they need? So they needed medical attention. So we started medical attention on a level with our general practicer. Now, the numbers being bigger and bigger and getting more and more requests from the community around us, as they didn't have much either, we moved into the facility of setting up a medical place. As far as malnutrition is concerned, we got so many of them, and we didn't have a place to put them proper. So people who have a child which is about to give up, it's easier to throw it away than to see the suffering until it dies, it seems. So people were tending to throw it, and we were like, but this is not proper.
I felt like we have to do something for those people, but they have to stay with their kids. So we started to admit them together with the caretaker, either the mother or an auntie or a big sister or whoever, so that the kids could get what they needed, special type of feeding, special amount of feeding, you know, you calculated it all according to the weight and the size of the kid. And then the one who was with them, the attendant, could learn, like, how do I do this? What does a child need? What is essential for a child to grow? So there was a lot of teaching involved about nutrition and things.
In that time that they started to grow a little bit, they needed, of course, lots of attention. So we got more helpers, you know, one in the kitchen, one to clean the floor, eventually one to play with the children. And then you go further. They come to an age where they're like, education would be, structural education would be a good one. So we got a teacher and we started with that. And there we built classrooms, and we got more official organized school, and that's where it started growing. Then of course we started with one class in a year. As we got the teachers, we started to tell the friends and relatives and whoever we had in our home country, Holland, where we are from, to say like, can you please help us? Can you support so that we can pay for teachers, so that we get qualified teachers? And that's how that grew. So the oldest kids were the pioneers. They went to grade 1 and grade 2, or however it is called in Canada. So that's how the school came into existence. Then you come eventually, as it is called here, P7, primary school number 7. Then you come to the next phase. They need to go to secondary school. What does that mean? High school probably in Canada. How is that going to be done? So we again decided we will do secondary school, but we will not do an ordinary secondary school. So that's where we felt like, no, I have to make the meaning different. And it needs to be practical. People were taught to have white-collar jobs, and that's what everybody wanted. And that is such a pity, because finding a skilled craftsman is a big challenge. They're artists in making something, but if you want 4 or 10 beds made exactly the same way, it's a heck of a job to get 10 the same. So the craftsmanships, they are not really developed, because that's for the lower class, for the ones who can't learn, which is of course nonsense. You don't need a country full of administrators. You need people who know how to do the jobs. So we stepped into that. So we created secondary vocational. So our vocational was, secondary school was absolutely 100% integrated in vocational. So sort of 50-50. And through what we do, having the first year with basically exposing to everything we have. Even if you're 100% sure you want to become a doctor, I have no problem with that. You still will do welding. You still will do agriculture. You will deal with animal husbandry or that sort. So we want you to be exposed to that. And we have seen lots of children eventually coming forward by saying like, wow, I'm glad I know all this. We felt a challenge that if we keep the schools and everything only for our children, including the clinic, if we keep that only for our children, then they are missing the natural connection with their real country, with their real surroundings, with the reality. So we did it like, we bring children from the communities, from the poorest of the poorest. We allow them to come to our school. We look for sponsors, and they come to our school. And so our children have a reintegration in their own society, as much as those children from the community have a chance to get a quality school. And some of our children do go on a regular basis with their friends to their homes. So they get to know what's out there. But generally speaking, I develop an idea and I share it with a few people, and that's often more than enough to say like, here we are, can we help? So God brings the people together. And it is not about the money, it's about the blessings like this. That's what we are looking at.
So within the children's home, we have different sections to help these children with their development milestones. So the first section is called the nursing section. That is where you find the very little ones, the babies up to around 1.5. So after going through the nursing section, a child will be transferred to what we call the toddlers. That is where you find the 2-year-olds. And this is where they'll play at home. They are occupied with play activities, to trigger their development milestones and prepare them when they transfer to the caretaking. That is 3.5. Because when they go to the caretaking, then, it's time to start going to school. And within being a Christian organization, we felt it is, it's important to us, there is front, God in whatever we do. So we do have a church called Noah's Ark Family Church. We do have a visiting reverend. We do have the campus youth pastors around on the compound. And within the spiritual aspect, our children are taken through Sunday school. We do have devotions. It's very important because we want the children to know who God is. We have children who are in different sections. We have the babies who sometimes come from 0 months to 2 years. We have the toddler section where they go from 2 years to 5 years. Then the kids side from 5 years to 9 years. After which they graduate to the family units from 9 years up to when they're 18 years, when they're still in school. In the babies section, we begin at 6:30 a.m. All the children are woken up, they are bathed, they are clothed. After which at 8 a.m. they take their breakfast. Their breakfast includes porridge, while some take their milk.
Patrick is a child who was brought to Noah's Ark when he was abandoned. He was very ill. He could not move. He went into a coma for a week, but miraculously he got out of the coma. He has cerebral palsy, but at least now he's able to feed through the tube and he's beginning to pick up. Lily and Mephibosheth as well were abandoned by unknown people. They are also not able to move any parts of their bodies, so each and everything is done for them. They are fed, they are clothed, they are bathed, they are helped to do some exercise just to keep their bodies active. Nakato and Babidia are twins who were brought after their mother passed away, were whilst giving birth. They were not doing well. They were left with their father as well as an auntie. But because the dad could not manage to take care of them because he had to go and look for work, he went to the probation officer and asked for help. And that's how they landed up in Noah's Ark. Damaris was abandoned at 9 years old, and she lived with an old lady who found her abandoned for quite some time. But she realized that she could not manage looking after Damaris since Damaris was disabled. So she also went through to the authorities, and the authorities were able to contact Noah's Ark. Damaris in the beginning was unable to walk, but she has gone through physiotherapy and she has been quite encouraged, and indeed now she can walk on her own. Benon as well was abandoned after birth. He also went through physiotherapy, and now Benon is able to move on his own.
I'm Miranda. I'm working here with the special need kids, and today we went for swimming with them, just in the swimming pool, so that they have some fun. What's so making?
You enjoy it? Have a little for your nerves, like nerves exercise. Does it help them in the nerves and keeping them awake? And
yes, it is more for relaxation.
Okay,
Yes, but that's why we are doing it. Het is even better if you see Lily, but we always start with Maybe because that is technical the better.
okay.
But Lily, she can jump in the water and she is
It's okay.
always very excited.
Okay.
You are happy. I'll make you do it. Like this.
At around 9:30, they have their devotion time. And during the devotion, they have praise and worship. They love singing certain songs like Under the Canopy of God. They are protected by God's love.
If you want to grow, if you want to grow, read your Bible, pray every day. If you want to grow, under the canopy, under the canopy, under the canopy of God, my Jesus, Jesus will cover me, give me security. Under the canopy of God, under protection, under the protection, under the protection of God, my Jesus will cover me, give me security. Just the way Esther did. She obeyed the uncle. Yeah? Esther obeyed the what? The uncle. All eyes on me. 1, 2, 3.
All eyes on Auntie Mercy.
Yes. So for it to be a good child, if your auntie tells you to do something, if your auntie tells you, you don't beat your friend, you have to respect your auntie and don't do what? That he died on the cross for our sins. Jesus did what? Died on the cross for our sins. And why do you think Jesus died on the cross for our sins? Because he loves us so much. Beating your friend, abusing your friend. What else?
Boss.
Yes, boxing. All of you clap for passport. So, for you not to do evil plan, you always have to do what? To listen to God. To listen to what the Bible tells you. Yes? You see the example from Esther. Esther obeyed the uncle.
After devotion, the children go outside in the playground area. Some go to the group of those who are having the relays. They run around and they go and they tap the next person who should also run around. They are in about 4 groups. Then others are interested in the dance sessions. So they group themselves and they dance different songs. Others go on to the swings, while others also enjoy playing in the climbing rack, as well as the train, as well as the sand pit.
has a police case. Open the door and shoot some. Iaga, wiggy wagga, on my shoes. Wiggy wagga, on my shoes. Wiggy wagga, on my shoes. Turn around and shoot some. Benon has a police case. Benon has a police case. Benon has a police case. Open the door.
1, 2, 3, go. Cheer them up, cheer them up.
They have times when they also take naps. Some kids take a nap after they've had their first meal at around 10, then they go and take a nap. Others have a nap after lunch, immediately after lunch in the baby section.
Cast your
kitchen is a big leg in our programs. You realize that each and every program relies on the food. Right now, the kitchen is taking care of 300 children, 300 people. That is over 180 children, a few caretakers, and the clinic team that are feasting on this food, that are staying on compound. We have a set menu that the kitchen staff go by. Nutrition is really important when it comes to the set menu. Usually lunch is usually posho and beans. Then when it comes to dinner, the children have a choice to choose a special meal. That is if it's a birthday. If we have no birthday, then the kitchen follows the set menu. On this menu, we look at nutrition. Vegetables are important, and where we can, we provide fruits to the children as dessert. Right now, what is going on is that there is cooked food in different containers, and these containers are distributed to the service stations of the children. We have the children's home where children sit on tables, and each and every container is distributed onto a table. And here, caretakers guide the children on how to have the meal and also serving the food. Food takes the lion's share on our big budget. Initially, we used to buy the food from the local markets and local suppliers. We realized that we cannot do this for a long time. We chose to bring in, we chose to solicit local philanthropists to come in and assist in helping to give the food that is donating. So here, quite a number of the Indian community donates rice, wheat flour. The locals donate some fruits, some vegetables to the children. Still, we went ahead and chose to grow our own food. And right now we are growing matoke, we are growing vegetables, fruits. We are also rearing fish to bridge the gap in between there and also boost the nutrition of the children. Right now, the team that is preparing the chapatis are getting ready for dinner. They are starting early because looking at the number of people that feast on our food, they need to start early so that they can meet the dinner time. And today the meal item is a chapati and beans. You may wonder why some of the young children are part of the job. Usually we call them out to learn, but at the same time to boost where they can. And some of them come to do the preparing because they love it, and also to learn from the aunties, store caretakers that are helping to prepare.
Hands together. All of bless our food, bless our aunties and our uncles everywhere. In Jesus' name. Amen. All of bless our food, bless our aunties and our uncles everywhere. In Jesus' name. Amen.
This is the family unit where the children graduate from the children's home. And in each family unit there are between 9 to 12 children. headed by an auntie or a mother. We try to make it as homely as possible. Children sleep 4 in each room, and they live as sisters. They also have a dining area where they eat their meals. The difference between the children's home and the family units, here the kids learn to be a bit more independent. They wake up and they're more responsible. They bathe themselves, they wash their own clothes, and they look after themselves well. And in the family units, the children are separated. Girls have their own home, their own family units, as well as boys also have their own family units, but with the same kind of setting.
We focus on building leaders that are going to transform generations to come. So what happens is that we set them up in groups, and then they have a staff who facilitates, but basically they are child-led. These teens are leading the much more smaller children. So what we do is we give them some time in the morning, freshening up, tidying up, having their breakfast. Now programs run between 11 and 1, so they break for lunch, and then 2 to 4, and then they'll break for play. And Wednesday is an off day. We let them just have their time. You know, by our evaluation, they don't want this sort of thing, like you're pumping them. Yeah, they don't like that. So what do they do when they meet in their time? The first hour is homework. We have a group of teachers that use their profession to set up learning objectives, learning activities. So the first hour is they do homework. Then the next hours, they're basically going to do stuff like physical education. They're doing art. There's a class of dance. They love that. They do band. We have a band within a band crew. So we go by their interests, cognitive abilities, and then area skills, and then we attach them to various groups or learning groups.
Well, schools have broken off for for COVID now, and so I prepare homework for the children. We prepare a program with different teenagers and adults who are leading activities like art and PE and things like that, so that the kids can continue keeping busy and learning in this time.
lockdown, we have to keep these children very busy, and having an extra skill in computer, I'm trying to put it into practice with these youngsters. And so we normally have computer classes. I have from the lowest of P3 to P7, and also secondary. So like these ones are learning basic skills, learning how to hold the mouse, learning how to use the interface of the computer and all that. So they keep advancing slowly and slowly. So basically we do this computer class, and then they always have a homework, and then we do the homework together. Yeah.
Junior group. Actually, it started 4 months back after the lockdown. So kids were bored. So we decided to engage them in some activities that could help them to keep them busy.
Students making their own masks. You can see there's a process, there's the mask, and then it shows you the different types of measurements because we use centimeters. So she's going to cut out 4 pieces of this mask. So this mask has basically it has 4 pieces. The inside has 2 pieces and then the outside has 2 pieces. You can either use a cloth to make the loop. You can use a cloth to make the loop, or you can use normal elastic. And when you're making it, I'm putting elastic, it should not be very tight so that when you're putting on, you don't feel the ears paining you. So it's going to cut out the 4 pieces. You'll get the scissors there. Yeah. So after drafting, she's going to cut out the parts. Then finally she'll go to the machine.
Family clinic is a health center that usually targets women and children, and our main focus is on mostly the vulnerable groups, pregnant mothers, and children that are either abandoned or vulnerable. So it focuses on the major complaints of the mother. Mostly we want to offer them a safe delivery, which is one of the priority. We do the basic screening We check their blood pressure and the well-being of the baby. So our focus is that all mothers will give birth in a healthy setting and in a clean environment. So all our mothers come in for their antenatal visits so they can have a healthy baby at the end of the day. We also do immunizations. We focus also on making sure that all our kids are immunized against all the killer diseases, and which are almost affecting mostly the African setting and most of the African communities. So we do immunizations after a mother has accessed antenatal. They are also given immunization services for their little ones. So we also look at the health of the mother after delivery, whereby mother has to come back to the health facility to make sure that the baby is checked, the mother is checked, to check for any danger signs of anemia or any ill health, so that we cover the whole package altogether. This is a labor suite where our babies are able to be born. So we have these delivery beds and then the incubators and then the resuscitation table to make sure that our baby is born in a healthy setting and is able to go back home healthy. We have a high maternal mortality, so we usually fight it through giving a very hygienic place and a good setting for our mothers who are giving birth. We have mothers that are delivering from home, so that's why partly our clinic was opened up for the outside community, so mothers can continue coming here for a normal delivery in a healthy setting. This is a radiant warmer, infant radiant warmer, where after the baby is born, it's kept here until it's warm enough. And if the baby needs any resuscitation, or maybe it was born maybe with birth asphyxia, or it's lacking enough oxygen, so we have to first resuscitate it here, give it enough oxygen, and then it's able to pick up. We usually rest our mothers in a resting room, and we monitor the baby for 24 hours. So currently this baby got a temperature during the night, so we may keep it a little bit longer on a course of antibiotics to cure the infection that it was delivered with, and then later on we'll let her go back home. But for now, the baby is under 24-hour monitoring. The same applies to the mother to check for any complications, whether the mother is bleeding heavily or having any raised blood pressures, so that we can help both of them. So we usually discharge after the baby is safe, breastfeeding normally, and the mother is also perfect. So this is one of our malnourished children that is currently receiving care at the clinic. Severely malnourished with cerebral palsy, cannot walk at 11 years, cannot sit on their own. So currently our nurse is giving treatment. She's on a course of antibiotics because she has been getting on and off infections. So currently she's under care, therapeutic feeding. The same applies also to the antibiotic care.
Here we mainly have children as our main population, and malaria is a bit dangerous in children. So in this lab, our main focus is actually malaria, and then we also look at other things.
So currently Noah's Ark Family Clinic is privileged to also have a nutrition clinic that targets the little children, all those below 5 years. So that's when we are able to pick out those who are malnourished, those who are having health complications, those that are having genetic or disabilities or any kind of illnesses. They're able to be arrested at that particular time.
We have put this whole here, this wall here with pictures, before and after pictures of several clients we have had. Children who, like Pavin, who came like this, very malnourished, and were discharged several months later from the outpatient program when they were looking like this. The reason we put this wall is that there are a lot of traditional beliefs why people don't want to be treated for malnutrition. People think children are bewitched, they are not worth to live, there are local diagnoses they believe they have, they need herbs, or they have a problem with the kidney, why they believe they can't be here but should be with a traditional healer. We have put this wall here so that we can show people, you are not the first, you won't be the last, and children came even in worse conditions than your child, but they are fine now. It has encouraged a lot of patients to come and actually to stay on ward. So that's why we have put, and several of the parents actually afterwards asked, may you put my child on the wall as well, so he can be an example to others. So this is Ramadan. He's a boy of 8 years old. It's a child with cerebral palsy, and that makes him at risk of malnutrition. They often have nutrition problems. He has been with us in the program, and he was initiated on plant unit. The mother was given health education, and they were doing actually quite well. He had improved, he was discharged. At this point, we had called them back to see how they are doing, to make a later follow-up, and we found he has really relapsed again. He has gone back, lost a lot of weight. As I spoke to the mother to find out what is exactly going on, she somehow was hopeful, and she was like, since last time, at least he still has a bit of appetite. But they try to feed him once a day, twice a day, according to the food they have. It's either posho or cassava, sometimes sweet potatoes. And then when I asked her, what is the sauce, which food do you add? She looked at me, she smiled. There is no sauce. Most of the time it's either just sweet potatoes, once a day, twice a day, just cassava. There's no protein in her diet at all. But I think if you look at the chest of the mother, you can see it's not just a problem of the child, it's a problem of the whole family. She has 8 children. The husband is sick, so he cannot work. So she's trying to create an income by digging. And she's doing what she can.
When someone buys land, the first thing they do is they clear everything, including sometimes the grass and every small tree, which is different from us here as Noah's Ark family. We do treasure nature, so that is why most of these trees were preserved right from when they were just like little. Why? Because it gives us a calm environment to our children. It exposes our children to studying. Because in between here, the forest, we do have some animals, we do have some monkeys, we have like 3 species of monkeys, we do see the butterflies, and some of the flowers too have helped us to harvest some honey for the for the children. And that is why even as we walk, you're going to find that we do have some of our homesteads in between the forest. And it is not acceptable for someone to cut a tree in this community. We have a committee that decides what tree, and usually either it's been destroyed by insects or maybe it has fallen. We do have guest houses at Noah's Ark Children's Ministry Uganda, which are open, that is for our internship students, that is the volunteers and missionaries who want to come and be with us. And while staying here, that is, someone has an option of either eating food from the main kitchen or an option of cooking for yourself.
are doing like a regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture, we want to show the communities that if you plant only one crop, you don't gain. Now we have banana plants here. We also have pineapples, which means that bananas, if you plant bananas, they take just only 1 year, you start harvesting money. Then pineapples also 1 year, and pineapples stays for 5 years. Then coffee, you start harvesting after 3 years. Then bananas, you keep on, and also banana is also like a tree, which keeps the shade to keep the coffee going on well, because coffee needs shades. We also dig contours to control soil erosion. I think you can see the water running from the other side. When it's coming, it just stops here. It doesn't go down in the valley, in the other swamp. So we control water, soil and water conservation, and we also dig these ridges here. When it's coming, it just stops there. Then after that, if it reaches here, the water just ends up here. We also mulch such that the water doesn't do what? Evaporate. We also plant beans. Beans add nitrogen in the soil. At the same time, it works like a live mulch. So if we harvest the beans, we also send the beans to the kids to feed on. Have planted also rice. It's 8 acres of rice. Now what we do with the rice, we plant 3 seasons a year. It just only takes on 2.5 months, we harvest, then again we replant. After harvesting again we replant. Also we feed the kids. And not only kids, but we have also tried to train the communities. Before, we were starting where those kids are, but now what we have done, you see now that the other side, even the communities have adapted. Even the other side, also the community has adapted.
My name is Christian. I'm the head of public relations. I also involve myself with some data management. In our organization, every child, of course, has its own information, and sometimes we have no information. Babies that are sometimes brought to us don't even have a name or a real date of birth. But as long as they are here and we take care of them for a longer time, we collect more information, like their health status. Along the way, we often investigate more and sometimes find some more background information, possibly relatives. They start going to school, so we get their school results, their certificates, and of course, children fall sick, we get their medical records. Most of that information is still kept on paper files, as the police and the clinic and schools are still used to doing a lot on paper. Part of it we digitize, like the photos, the background stories of the children, so we have easy access, and we can also quickly give access to, or rather send it to, international sponsors and donors, so we can inform them a bit about why we have children here, why there's a need for them to be with us. We do find some challenges there in that a background story that comes from police or social work does not always connect well with foreign donors, as they don't know a lot of the circumstances. We have privacy concerns. So we usually find that we have 2 or 3 levels of stories. There's the social work report, which has a lot of details, and we condense it more and more if it is for a personal story, or if we send it out to the world. Anyone who comes here for a visit will probably come with a lot of good ideas at first, where they think I can make a very simple improvement. I have found here myself, after being 7 years here, that it's not always that easy, that if a simple form doesn't always work, or a very elaborate digital system might not get used. So anyone who comes here, I would really challenge you to come with an open mind, and to first see how things run around here and other organizations,
and really get a feel for what we are doing and what we are trying to achieve, and not so much as in what we as Western people might think is the right way. For fundraising, of course we mention the bad things. If a child comes in because it's left on a rubbish heap, we cannot keep that a secret. But we always emphasize the good things. We rather say, okay, this child was left on a rubbish heap, but in the following years after, we were able to give it education and it was growing strong. So we rather emphasize the end product, which is usually very positive, than the original problem.
So for us, we have said like, okay, it would be nice if we develop a couple of our children who could be part of the takeovers when they grow older, to be the ones guiding or doing administration or caring for their brothers and sisters. And then they need jobs, they need to be paid. So that could be done as in the system we have, but also starting small companies for them. So we decided, so let's start a coffee farm, and then integrate that in the community by helping those people who are doing a little bit as a survival around their homes with coffee. We say like, if we help them to produce a better quality coffee, not to abuse the coffee plant in itself, but to produce the best cherries, the biggest quality, the highest quality. Now that takes time. So if we guide them and we buy it and we produce the whole chain of getting it on the market in the Western world, then we will have honest prices back to them. And in the same time, that helps a couple of our children who do not get jobs to get the jobs. So if we can help them to take care of their own family by saying, now I can send you to school, I can go to a clinic, yeah, and together you will grow. That's a dream, because then we can help so many thousands of more children. God brings people from other sides of the world to fill in again. So we have now serious questions for the Netherlands, for Germany, but even for the US and Canada, where we have got questions. So can we work together, coffee roasters, coffee companies? Can we work together? Can we help to see how we can get your coffee on the market? So that's a process which I'm now moving into, to explore and to see what that would mean.
I do encourage you to come and join us at Noah's Ark Children's Ministry, because there are so many opportunities for you, to learn from. We do have the children, like I told you, who will get in the worst possible situations you can think from. For those of you doing medical, you can benefit a lot, to learn and also to give a helping hand, because we do need, the help. We have so many cases of malnourished children. Actually, most of the children also do come when they are malnourished. So I call upon you to come. We need this. We need the support, from all of you. We need you to come and gain experiences that you may not be able to find elsewhere. We do need volunteers and missionaries, to come and help us so that we can better serve the children together. And I'm sure your lives will never stay the same.
It's a great success for us to see eventually that your kids, when they grow older, boys are not likely to carry around babies, especially not in this culture. Am I right? So, but then we see our big ones, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20 years even, boys, and they love carrying a little one. They all have a favorite small one again. And you're like, wow, I have been able to reproduce the love of a man towards a baby in a healthy way. Because that's where it comes. So I believe a lot of my boys will be proud, proper fathers, which is so lacking in the world, leave alone in Uganda. It's a challenge. So it makes me proud, makes me feel like I'm successful. Because go into all the world and make disciples. How do you make disciples? Well, take them on your hand. Walk with them. Show them the difference. Let them see what you see. If you believe that God is giving you a task and a vision, make sure they see it. And the best way to do that is not sitting necessarily in the classroom, living it. So we have always believed we don't want to necessarily preach, but we preach with our hands and with our actions. And thank God we have seen many results of that.
My name is Jethro Chamagalo. I am in primary 4. I thank Mama and Papa for taking care of me. Thank you for loving me. May God bless you.
Miss Babide Priscilla.
Hi, my name is David Kato.
And we are twins. We came here 17 years ago.
Hi, I'm Apio Naomi.
I am Achen Deborah. We live in Noah's Ark Children's Ministry, Uganda, in Mukono. I was got with my sister 12 days. Papa and Mama took us in. They clothed us, loved us.
In future, I plan to become an accountant or a social worker.
And I plan to become a lawyer or a social worker in future.
Hi, my name is Akelo Gladys.
Hi, my name is Achen Margaret.
Hi, my name is Apio Mary. We are triplets. Papa and Mama picked us 15 years ago. I am in senior 2 and in future I want to become a doctor.
I am in senior 2 and in future I want to be a social worker or a chief.
I am in senior 2 and I would like to be a doctor.
We love you, Papa and Mama. God bless you.